für verschiedene.
There we go.
Thank you. Zaten dışarıdaki oturuyoruz, şimdi gidiyoruz.
Go there. And welcome aboard. Goes for you as well. Welcome to both of you. Go there. 1 hour. Go there. Every passage you had to sit down and remain seated when we had to sail underneath the bridge. And for God's sake, don't try to see if you can hang from the bridges inside. Life jackets on board for everybody. Underneath your seats, you're not allowed to smoke or vape on board. And yellow line up here behind me. Please don't cross it when we are sailing. You could take the captain's view. And talking about the captain, I'll be back. I'm back. And today we are really lucky because we have the best captain in the fleet, in my opinion, sailing for us, and that is Captain Mia sitting up here. She sailed the 7 seas. I'd said perhaps 4 of them, but I've been living in Copenhagen since 1970, so you can ask me questions when we have the time for that. And right now we are leaving the most photographed area in all of Copenhagen, the sunny side of Nyhavn, and that's the area of the many colored houses over to your left here. And we're sailing on the canal of Nyhavn. And the canal here dug out for more than 350 years ago by Danish soldiers and perhaps Swedish fishermen. And we have the first bridge coming up right in front of us, and it's the lowest of them all. So I'll be watching you to see if you have been listening to my instructions. So everybody, please sit down in the back of the boat as well. You can take a selfie later on. Lady in the back of the boat, please sit down. Please sit down and thank you. And when I say thank you, that's the way I communicate with the captain. And when she hears me say thank you, she'll know that everybody's seated and it's safe for her to sail on. If she doesn't hear me say thank you, she'll stop the boat immediately. So, low bridge, mind your heads. Thank you. I'll be watching you every single time we have a bridge. I hate it when anybody gets decapitated in my tour. It's so messy. So, as I told you, the canal here dug up for more than 350 years ago by Danish soldiers and bridge to your left. We have the best photo opportunity of us seeing this church with the spires here. So first you have to really see. Steps up, 50 steps down. So 15 or 10 steps. And the first tree will be over here, the most popular tree in all of Copenhagen. That's its own Facebook campaign, something like I missed the first opportunity of seeing. The circle bridge coming up the side by ladies are standing artists who look what it is. And one of many bridges will be walking by the because we don't stand and the black building right in front of us, that's the Black Diamond with David. And opened in 1999. And it was named the Black Diamond by the culture minister back then, and she was really quick to come up with the name because in Copenhagen we actually were to make really populated the name the Black Diamond. And it's close towards the harbour in a 70-degree angle, and in the morning when the sun rises, just sit down, and then the reflections are all over as set from the sun. And sitting at the corner next to the Black Diamond over here, we have the smallest of the little mermaids sitting on the shore around Copenhagen. And this one is made by a female artist named Anna and if you compare the two mermaids, the famous one, she is 100% different. You will see the female leg down the back side of the beach. It's heading into a very old area of Copenhagen, and it's a special Christmas tree. Just a new boat. We have 9 low bridges coming up just for you. And again, I have faith in you. You can do it. You. And when we have the lake to the right here, the sailors in the Navy did. And mother-in-laws, other schools in here, bakeries, what they needed before like the Navy. And 400 years ago, you couldn't drink the water in Copenhagen. We didn't have the sewer system. The water was kind of polluted. So instead, the king gave the Navy the Royal Blue House, this really large red brick building over to your right. And bridge, thank you. And every single sailor in the Navy back then received 10 liters of beer each and every day as part of the salary. Brought the 10 liters back to the families for the rights of the children. They drank beer year-round instead of water. Luckily for everybody, it was a strong beer, so we didn't have drunken children running around the streets back then. But could be dating back to that exact brew house that we in Denmark started to brew good beer and to enjoy good beer times. Or could be dating back to that exact brew house that it was established during the Renaissance in King Christopher IV. He lost 28 wars out of the 32 wars he engaged in. And in Denmark we have more than 200 islands, and that means a lot of old ferries and a lot of lighthouse boats. And we are very much into houseboating in Denmark. And still, if you want to live in a houseboat in the harbour of Copenhagen, setting back millions of Danish crowns. And bridge, thank you. And right after the bridge, to your right, we have the power centre of Denmark, you would say. Been that since the late 12th century. 5 different palaces and castles have been built on the little island to your right here, Slotsholmen Palace Island. And what you're looking at up here on the right after the bridge, to your right, that's a remain of the first out of 3 palaces named Christiansborg. Talking about original naming. And the rounder building over to your right, just sailing by, houses the royal stables. And 100 years ago, the king in Denmark, he would have about 250 horses working for him these days. The king in Denmark, King Christian and Frederick X, for God's sake. And we have the marble bridge, thank you. The king in Denmark has about 20 white handy horses doing the job. And we have had 10 kings named Christian and 10 kings named Frederick. And the next day, we named Christian XI. And we have the hardest bridge of them all to sail through in front of us. So if you're sitting outside or if you have open windows, I have to ask you to take every single body part inside the rail of the boat. Legs, noses, elbows, ears, what could be dangling outside. And of course you still have to mind your heads as well. So, mind your heads and mind your body parts. Thank you. And see the sailing of the backside. And I have been told there should be ancient fertility symbols painted in here. In 1659, the Swedes tried to conquer Copenhagen, and they were stuck in this area. And that's why the bridge here, a newer bridge named Storm, they tried to storm Copenhagen. And already now I'm going to ask the one of you sitting outside in the back on the outermost seats to bow your head down. Don't change seats, just bow down because we have a nice degree to turn right after the big ship. Full circle, because since the other royal left the world belongs to King Harald of Norway, and the family in Norway, royal family, they are the only royals ever received at Royal Pavilion over here. And I told you that the opera park and the opera house, they were a present for Copenhagen, and they were given to us by Maersk Container Shipping Line. And to your right over here, and if I'm really nice, I say this strong looking building to your right over here, that's a headquarter for that exact company. 189 blind blue eyes are looking out at us, and we cannot see what they're doing in there. And if you look at the tented building to your right here near the top, they have their own talent area coming up again to your right, and that is a main. And a valuable starts out at if you are here by Wednesday, free admission every Wednesday at that exact museum over here. And coming up in front of us and to your left for a change, we have a green man on a green horse on a pin, and that is basically Absalon. And when I was a child, I was told he was the founder of Copenhagen. But he wasn't. He was the founder of a town named Kopenhag, meaning harbour. But he was the first who built a castle on the palace island in here. And he was a Viking bishop. And you can see that he has a helmet on his head, and he has an axe in his hand. Not a sword, not something else. And we have a bridge coming up. Thank you. Get a view of the Danish Parliament over to your right here, Christiansborg, open 1928. And every time I say by here, I always allow myself to brag about the woodwork I believe they're doing here. Just this summer, Copenhagen named the best city in the world by the Economist. Check. Every single year, Copenhagen is on the top 5 of being one of the 5 safest capitals to live in and to visit. Check. And every single year, Denmark is on the top 5 of being one of the 5 happiest countries to live in. Check again. And I can top it because in these years we have a really strong economy in Denmark as well. So what not to like, at least if you're Danish. You can agree or you can disagree with some of the decisions they make in here, but all in all, pretty good work they're doing here and at the town hall as well. Very special restaurant up in the tower here, I've got to tell you that. Spectacular room, a bit expensive though, but I don't get anything for recommending it. The room is beautiful, very strong building. And we have a bridge coming up, thank you. And the lady in Copenhagen, they have their very own church, the church on the island, Holland's Church. But the church started out as being a smithy for the Navy, and the smaller vessels sailing the materials for the smithy or to pick up the large anchors for the wooden ships of war who laid outside the inner city here. And then, to your right, we have a white tent. Houses the remains of the Danish stock exchange which burned down last year on the former Queen's birthday, the 16th of April. And it was a catastrophe, perhaps not on the same scale as Notre Dame in Paris, but in Denmark, in Copenhagen, it was a catastrophe. And they promised me to rebuild the building, and it would celebrate exactly 400 years of existence last year when it burned down. And a little fun fact about the building, had a really famous spire on the top, and it was 4 dragons with the tails up in the air, and the dragons, they were put on that exact building to protect against fire. Could be that the magic in Mona used up, I don't know. And again, to your left, we have Koppenhagena House, which is the best location in all of Copenhagen, and they should turn it into our Airbnb or something like that. Container houses to the left here houses the workers who are working on restoring the Danish National Bank, coming up to your left over here. And the Danish National Bank, designed by famous Danish architect Arne Jacobsen. And he didn't just design the building with the really large glass areas and grey granite, you cannot see it right now, grey granite coming from Norway. He designed everything, the lighting of the interior as well, meaning chairs, tables, doors, cutlery in the kitchen, right down to the smallest doorknob. But unfortunately, he didn't live long enough to see his masterpiece being finished. Thank you. He died 7 years before the last name. Perhaps he's sitting up there looking out at his building. And the next bridge we're going to sail under. That's the only bridge on this tour you're allowed to stand up when we need to sail under. Danish Foreign Minister at the corner next to the bridge. And the Danish Foreign Minister lays next to the square named as Asiatic Square. And over here we have an old warehouse built in 1750, around there. And you have to notice the truly beautiful front side and then compare it to the really dull back side. And one of the story goes, we have the difference because it was a king who lived in the palace in here, palace area, Palace Island. He asked for something nice to look at in the morning, but he opened his windows. But I don't believe that, to be honest. And every single weekend we had police picking up drunken Swedes, following them down to the ferries to make sure they were sent back to Sweden. And remember the year 2002, then we had the bridge. And until then, we had a not so nice saying. We even went to England and stayed twice with Charles Dickens over there. And you could say he overstayed. Charles Dickens wasn't that impressed with the Danish writer. And the reason Hans Christian Andersen lived in here, being on the cheap side, due to the fact it was the red light district, as I told you when we said out, it was the cheapest area in all of Copenhagen to live. So of course he lived on the cheap side. But I believe that could be true in both of the stories. And we have an old friend right in front of us. First bridge, sail under when we say it out, and it's the lowest of them all. And for the second last time, I'm going to ask you to remain seated until we've sailed underneath it. Thank you. Last time will be when we've got the boat, and then we'll let you know when it's safe to leave. So, thank you. One last sight for you, and that's not on the beautiful sunny side of Denmark. It's on the shady side of Denmark, and it is perhaps the narrowest house in all of Copenhagen, the Pencil House. And it's a really slender house, and it belongs to a family with children. So look for signs of children in a really narrow house coming up to your left over here. The Pencil House, and it's a white house hiding between 2 other white houses. Have you found it yet? Yes. Not house number 3, not house number 5. It's of course house number 5. It's house number 4, which you left here. The pencil house. There is not in Copenhagen, perhaps. And on behalf of Captain Mia, the best captain in the fleet, and myself, Lisa, want to thank you for joining us on the best place you can be when you visit Copenhagen. Hope you enjoyed, and remember to remain seated until we have docked the boat. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it.